I'm interrupting the sequence relating to the videos on cardiovascular issues to bring you an urgent message about immunity and COVID-19. Now, if you've been following my videos, you may remember that I did one recently on free immunity. The thrust of that video was about one of the most important healers and protectors of immunity that there is, and that is natural sunshine. It really upsets me when I see the governments, particularly in New Zealand and Australia, brainwashing the general population into what is referred to as slip, slap, slop. This means slathering yourself with sunscreen. Now, quite apart from the dangerous chemicals that there are in sunscreen, which are suspected of causing cancer, they prevent people from strengthening their immune systems with the most powerful natural immune remedy that there is: sunshine. This is not just a fad of mine, it is supported by sound science. Here are some examples. A few days ago, there was an article published in the Wall Street Journal talking about a new study that links lower levels of vitamin D to higher mortality rates from COVID-19 in Italy, Spain, and France. No surprises there. Back in the US, from figures coming out in New York, it appears the fatality rate from Black Americans are higher, possibly due to the generally lower levels of vitamin D in that population segment, as the darker your skin is, the harder it is to get enough vitamin D from the sun. Even harder if you live in a city and just emerging from the winter period, during which many people have probably had little sun exposure, and thus their vitamin D levels would be lower than usual. Perhaps this is a factor in the high levels of infections in New York. As I mentioned in the previous video, I am not a believer in high-dose vitamin D supplements, but if you have not been able to get any sunshine, this could be the time in which it could be prudent to actually take some vitamin D supplements. Normally we use 1000 IUs as part of our formulas in our supplements, but if you're in a city and not getting any sun exposure, and given the risks of COVID-19, and you are not taking anything else to boost your immunity, I would suggest that you start taking 5000 IUs a day. We don't manufacture single high-dose vitamin D supplements, but there are a lot of manufacturers who do, so you should have not any trouble in finding some. Here's another point of interest about the healing power of the sun. During the 1918 Spanish flu epidemic, which killed about 50 million people, there were a number of emergency hospitals erected in the US. One of them was Camp Brooks Open Air Hospital in Massachusetts, which was an outdoor recovery unit. Now, here's what's interesting. The mortality rate for patients there fell from 40% to 13% when they were moved outside and exposed to sunlight. I've posted the link to the study below. Now, some people would argue that this is not definitive as it was not a double-blind placebo trial, but if you apply common sense and connect all the dots, these results are not surprising. In my opinion, the general paranoia and fear surrounding sun exposure costs more lives than will ever be lost through COVID-19. Lack of sun exposure and poor immunity takes more lives and causes more misery than any viral pandemic. For those folks who live in the Northern Hemisphere, you have the advantage of the summer just beginning. So try and get that sun exposure. It's free. Not only will it help raise your immunity, it will also help raise your sense of well-being. And in some people who are becoming depressed, it will help them as well. Talk soon.